If you've wasted money on aquarium plants, battled annoying weeds, or spent hours replanting stems that just won't stay down, this video is for you. Today I'm breaking down 4 aquarium plant hacks that will save you time, money, and a lot of frustration. If you've got a planted tank or an aquascape, then you're gonna want to see this. Alright, kicking off the video, we've got hack number 1, which are these right here. What you're looking at right now are plant weights. If you really struggle when you're planting stems, you don't have the deepest substrate, especially when you get a big bunch as well. When you're trying to fiddle with it in the substrate, they all start floating up and everything. It's really annoying. But these save all the hassles, all the worries, and they're very cheap too. So they're basically a really malleable metal. I'm pretty sure they're lead weights. They're safe for aquariums. These are made for aquariums. I've got the Aqua One plant weights that work really well. And yeah, I use them all the time, even on the aquascapes. You don't see them when they're in the substrate. I'm going to quickly show you how to actually use them on real plants. All right, I've got some stem plants in here, so I can use these for an example. Right, so you grab a nice stem of plants right there in a thick bunch like that. They get all tangled, and when one starts floating up, then it sort of brings all the other plants with it. So we got the plant weight. We want to start by bending it first, just a little bit like that. We wrap it around the plant nice and gently. Don't be too hard on it, because otherwise the stems will eventually die off from a lot of pressure against them. Close it off right there, and yeah, you should have something looking like that. All right, and then we've got the plant. As you can see, when you add it to the tank, it sinks down. So if you get just a couple of the roots or a couple of the stems submerged into the soil, it will stay there. And then the roots can eventually find their way into the substrate, and there you go. Go about your day, hassle-free, put a plant weight on, chuck the stem plants in, you're good to go. All right, hack number 2. You're gonna love this one. I feel like getting duckweed in at least one of your tanks is inevitable at some point. It's really important you got one of these lying around, because when you do have the duckweed hit your fish tanks like a plague, this is by far the easiest, most efficient way to get rid of and control the duckweed. Ah, there you are. Right, here we've got the hair comb. Very genius invention, not made for duckweed, but for combing hair. But anyway, what you do with this is you get the lid off your fish tank, get this at one end of the fish tank, and then drive it along the surface, picking up all that duckweed across the vicinity that you choose, and then press it up against the glass at the very end until it's out of the tank, and then you've got a massive duckweed that you can do whatever you want with. You can feed it to some goldfish if you've got, chuck it in your garden, it's good nutrients. If you've got nano tanks, then it takes like no more than a minute of getting rid of all the duckweed, and you rinse off the comb when you're done. Happy days. Let's say you want a carpet in your aquarium. It's an aquarium that's already set up, but you've got a really thin layer of substrate where it's almost impossible to plant Monte Carlo, HC Cuba, or hairgrass or anything like that. Here's a really easy way to get some carpeting plants down on top of that substrate and get it to thicken out into a nice, beautiful carpet without having to add any more sand and destroying the whole ecosystem that you've got going on. Let me show you something in here. Right in there, I've got some Monte Carlo. So one of the best carpeting plants for low tech aquariums, in my opinion. I just planted this, so I can easily show you. Right here is Monte Carlo, and see how it's tied to a rock? So what I basically did was grab a clump of Monte Carlo. This was actually trimmings from another carpet. I simply pressed the plant onto the rock and then got some cotton string and wrapped the Monte Carlo tightly to the rock. And then before you know it, you've literally got a whole little piece of Monte Carlo ready to plant. You can place it straight on top of your substrate. It'll basically start vining out onto the actual substrate. If you get several pots, you put little pieces on little tiny pebbles and you scatter them across, and you place them on top of the substrate but space them out in the area you want the carpet. They will thicken out and you'll get a lush green lawn inside your aquarium. Just put it back down there. You can do the same thing with moss. I did that here. This was on a rock and I could easily put it in this little crack in the wood. Yeah, you tie the moss down nice and tightly as well, and it'll eventually start growing out. This little hack can save you a lot of disaster, especially when messing with the tank's ecosystem by adding brand new sand or soil or gravel to the tank. And yeah, just a cool thing to know. Oh, this looks like a good light. Far out. Nah, no one wants this, man. Not even plants. If you've got the same problem, if you bought a light that looked really good online, it was a damn cheap price too. Well, you turn the light on and it is strong, but all you get is an on and off button. That's no fun. The next hack is black tape. How cool is that? All right, black tape over the LEDs. You'll still get some light go through the black tape. You can always put more layers on if you want to get less light going through. It's a lifesaver. And you're on a budget, you don't want to spend more money on a new light. Black electrical tape is great, nice and thin, and you have more control over the spread of the light too, how much you want to decrease the light in what areas of the tank. You might even go do this right now. If you realize some of the tanks with algae in it is because of the really high lighting, screw these, we're going to make our own rules. Really great trick. If you're just doing planted tanks for fun, you're not trying to do fancy aquascapes and all that, these hacks are really cool to know, but it's really important that you get your head around the foundation of a planted aquarium. So check out this video on the screen. Besides that, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.